Welcome back to Archetypical in our Agile Series. This is Moving People's Cheese. In my career, I've never had an entire team approach a transformation into Agile Project Management with open arms. I usually get to participate in a psychological case study of groupthink. In a typical group, you have one or two people in the group that are extremely vocal in their opposition to changing their process. Many in the group would sway either way, for or against. However, they don't want to disagree with the majority and don't want to stand out, so they typically will go along with the more vocal people. Then every once in a while, you have juror number 8. This is in reference to the 1957 film 12 Angry Men. That person goes against the group, defends his or her position, and causes others in the group to question their initial decision. Not all groups have a juror number 8, so it falls on the Agile Project Management practitioner to play that part. I recently connected with a former colleague who told me that I changed his perspective on Agile Project Management. In all honesty, that is one of the biggest compliments any Agile project manager could receive. I'll share his feedback after I provide a quick history of this partnership. When I first joined the team, he was the absolute most vocal critic of the Agile processes and explained that they were forced, literally, onto them by leadership. He told me that the process was heavy and presented no value whatsoever to the team and to him. During the first few weeks that I was a part of the team, I told the team leader that I just wanted to observe their process, ceremony, meetings, everything like that before I took over. Now, please note, many Agile project managers don't take the time to observe and understand a team's current processes before pushing a change. We're taught to define a problem before recommending a solution. However, in reality, we don't apply this practice when it comes to deploying a new process. Not many people like when someone shows up and moves their cheese. So here's what I observed. Stand-ups were a waste of time. Lots of talk, little organization, no action. Quarterly planning was more about making sure that previous features and stories were closed out and new ones were created, even if the work was going to carry over into the next quarter. Stories existed, but only because the leader built the stories for them and tracked everyone's progress for them. Sprint planning was happening, but it didn't truly reflect the value delivered by the team in that sprint. Retros were too frequent for the type of work this team performed. Demos were in place, but only involved the internal team. There was no time in a quarter devoted to truly planning for the upcoming quarter. They worked all the way up to the quarterly planning event, leaving no time for coordination with other teams. Attention was focused on adherence to the story writing process. You may know it. As a blank, I need to blank so that I can blank. Acceptance criteria was part of it, and story pointing was using the Fibonacci sequence. Nobody was looking at capacity, so there was a lot of work planned for the quarter, but only part of the work completed. The process was indeed heavy and provided no value to the team other than being able to tell leadership that they were following the prescribed Scaled Agile Framework. So with the team leader's permission, I completely disassembled the Agile processes that they were following. Number 1, I took over the stand-ups and created stories on the fly for the individuals. As soon as we identified the need for a new story, I created it in the stand-up, sized it, and assigned it. Number 2, we canceled all retros and demos. Number 3, we moved to a continuous planning cycle rather than a sprint cycle. Number 4, we focused on visualizing and then prioritizing the work. Number 5, we removed Fibonacci as our unit of measure for sizing and started estimating based on days of effort. Number 6, the stories were mostly used to track their own work and convey capacity, so I told the team to drop the user story format and the acceptance criteria. All of this is very controversial, obviously, but the dynamics of the team shifted within weeks of making the large changes above. Win number 1, the team observed me creating stories during stand-up and saw how quick and easy it was. Within 2 weeks, the team started to tell me that they would create the stories and that I didn't need to do it anymore. Win number 2, we started to discuss feasibility of completing work based on available capacity rather than committing to all of the work. We had full visibility into all of the work that the team had committed to. Win number 3, after a month and a half of working in this manner, we decided that we were ready to demo a few of the deliverables to the internal team as well as to a few of the external stakeholders. We then began ad hoc demos only when needed. Win number 4. After 4 months of working with the team, we agreed that a Scrum Master could take over my duties, and the team became a self-organized, well-run machine. Their output was higher, their capacity was in control, they had predictability around their work, and most importantly, they felt like a winning team. Now let's circle back to the feedback my colleague shared with me about how I changed his perspective on Agile Project Management. He told me that before I was a part of the team, and I want you to notice here that although I never owned any output, he considered me to be a part of the team. He said that process was a box to check and felt overly complicated. He said that I simplified the process, helped the team understand the value, and created what felt like a bespoke solution that addressed the needs of the team. The team felt better, like they were in control of the process. They felt freed from the chains of process, that they could keep moving, improvising so they could flow. The music was in the hands of the individuals on the team. There was no longer the need for a conductor. Thanks again for listening in. Please join us in our next session whenever we talk about a revolution for an evolution.